To me, it's one of the most fascinating shipwrecks. It's up there with Titanic, with Lusitania.
Patterson created a vessel that not only met the expectations of the owners, but probably exceeded those expectations, because very few ships could regularly advertise they could reach Australia in 60 days in 1850s.
This is the SS Great Britain, the great iron-hulled transatlantic steamer built by Isambard Kingdom Brunel here in this very dockyard in Bristol. She's a great survivor that we can visit today, and she gives us a very good idea of, firstly, the dimensions and also the construction of the Royal Charter.
From the very start, there were indications that she was an unlucky ship, because halfway through construction, Mr. Cram went bankrupt and another gentleman took over. That was a bad luck sign, the change of ownership. It was a further bad luck sign that she refused to go into the water. The third bad sign that she didn't want to go to sea was when she grounded at Flint. All of these signs indicated that she was an unlucky ship. Plus the fact that the gentleman shot down an albatross when they entered the southern seas. On her first voyage, they shot down an albatross. All of these signs indicated that she was an unlucky ship, and she was drastically unlucky when she hit the eye of that cyclone.
Unaware of the impending storm, Captain Taylor confidently kept to his schedule and sailed on into catastrophe.
People talk about the wind being like the devil. It was shrieking, the sea was foaming, the spray was going a half a mile or more inland.
I mean, the only possible way of conveying information like that would have been, I guess, semaphore flags and what have you, but visibility in a storm like that, it would have been nigh on impossible, I guess, to communicate that kind of information had there been a network of information available at the time, and there clearly wasn't.
This is the ship's wheel of the SS Great Britain. Not enormous, but it was from here that the course of the ship was controlled. And at the height of the storm in which the Royal Charter was trying to survive off the coast of Anglesey, it's an indication of the strength of that storm that 4 of the crew were assigned to struggle with the wheel.
Smashed against the rocks, and they can see people. You know, they can hail them out from the wreck, and yet they can't get ashore.
One of the crew on board the doomed Royal Charter was Marlborough seaman Isaac Lewis, whose father was among the rescuers. After recognising and calling out to each other, the son attempted to cross ashore by rope, but was washed away by the waves and drowned in front of his father's eyes. The records of the day show the extent of the disaster and its impact on the local parishes, as it was their legal obligation to bury the drowned washed up on their shores. St Gallgo's was turned into a mortuary, and by the following Sunday, the church was full of bodies.
44 shipwrecked men and women lay here at one time, awaiting burial. Here, with weeping and wailing in every room of his house, my companion worked alone for hours, solemnly surrounded by eyes that could not see him and by lips that could not speak to him, patiently examining the tattered clothing, cutting off buttons, hair, marks from linen, anything that might lead to subsequent identification.
It had been the storm of the century, with widespread destruction throughout the British Isles.
The longer term implications of the storm, if you like, the after effects of the storm, were that, and it's quite ironic really, that in the year the publication of The Origin of Species, that Fitzroy, Commander Robert Fitzroy, who was a captain of the Beagle that the Charles Darwin went on the round the world voyage on, he was working for the Board of Trade at the time, and it was Following the storm that wrecked the Royal Charter, he was very keen to establish a system whereby areas of the country could be notified of storm activity in future so that disasters like this could be avoided. And that really was the driving force, or the catalyst, if you like, for the establishment of the modern day Met Office.
I tend to paint a lot of pictures which have storms in them, or ships in distress, and I've done quite a lot of work to do with not just the Royal Charter but other ships that have gone ashore around Anglesey coast. But the Royal Charter to me, obviously, and for a lot of other people, is the definitive horrible wreck. It'll always haunt me, this wreck, for whatever reason, as an artist, as a marine artist.